is good.
I think that's going to be a hit. I'm not sure about the other one, but
Mics are going hot. I agree with you what you said. Yeah. Just because of the and it's not you. It's yeah. All right, we're rock and roll on the program, guys. The Jerry and Jerry show. Mics are slowly going hot. Chandler Morris is the talk of the town. Jerry Ratcliffe, the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, is going to be at Tony Elliott's press conference today at 11:30, which I imagine Coach Elliott is going to. That's got to be the top question he will be asked. Whether he will answer it. How do I handle this, Hootie? In straightforward fashion?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess a coach doesn't have to be straightforward. It's probably gamesmanship is to the team's best advantage.
It could be. You leave Duke guessing which quarterback they're going to. More than likely, Duke will prepare for both quarterbacks anyway. But with the new policy where you have to list people who are out by Thursday? I think.
Yeah.
That takes some of the drama out of everything, but that doesn't mean that you still can't play some mind games. But Tony's usually pretty good about telling us who's at least he expects to be back.
We'll talk Chandler Morris. We'll talk Danny Kalen.
Mm-hmm.
Danny or Daniel? He's listed as Daniel on the.
He's listed as Daniel. I don't know if they call him Daniel or not, but we haven't been around him enough to know if he goes by Dan or Danny or Daniel or what.
Kid's got upside. Looked very much deer in the headlines and overwhelmed at times against Wake Forest, whose defense is pretty good, but showed some flashes of upside. It seems to me, and you're the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer and the pro at this, seems to be a very different quarterback than Chandler Morris.
Yeah, he's mostly a pocket guy.
Yeah.
He's a little bigger, can see downfield a little easier. He's more athletic than people probably first reported. I mean, we saw that on that 50-something yard run early in the game. And
not as athletic as Chandler.
No, not at all. But the only mistake he made was turning around to see, and that slowed him down, and he got caught from behind, or else he would have scored a touchdown. And I think, but it's like Satchel Paige said once, don't look back, but something might be gaining on you, and that's exactly what happened.
One of my favorite aspects of hanging with Jerry Hootie Ratcliffe is the institutional sports knowledge. I think maybe the only Satchel Paige reference we've ever had on the I Love CVille network.
Probably.
Was that you're gonna have to help me out with that one. A pitcher for St. Louis? Did he play for St. Louis?
Yeah, I think so. He's mostly in the Negro Leagues, but then he played a little bit of Major League
Cup
Baseball.
of coffee in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Judah Wickower is behind the camera. Viewers and listeners, like and share the show. We're going to rock and roll here on the Jerry and Jerry show ahead of the Tony Elliott press conference with questions, Hootie, all over the feed. Make sure group is up and running when you can. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Then we'll rock and roll when you're ready, J-Dubs. Welcome to the Jerry and Jerry Show, guys. Thank you kindly for joining us. My name is Jerry Miller. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you guys in our studio in downtown Charlottesville. Less than 2 miles from Scott Stadium, less than 2 miles from the John Paul Jones Arena, and less than 2 miles from Thomas Jefferson's University of Virginia. If you're watching this program from afar, goodness gracious, it is a blustery, chilly, and downright freezing day in Charlottesville, Virginia. I woke up this morning in Ivy, Virginia, which is just outside the city, and the temperature gauge read 15 degrees. Took the trash out. Tuesday is trash day in my neck of the woods. Had the misfortune of doing it in my slippers and a bathrobe. And I'll tell you what, I've never sprinted quicker or faster into the house after wheeling the the trash can to the mailbox and to the curb. It was icicles out there. A lot to cover on today's program, including the topic du jour, which is Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris, goodness gracious, we need this gunslinger from Texas, a guy that is the hope of this Virginia football team, 24-year-old who is perhaps in a concussion protocol, perhaps the coaching staff cautious with a concussion protocol scenario. Maybe we find out more today at 11:30 at the press conference, where our star of our show, Jerry Ratcliffe, will be in attendance. We'll talk basketball as well. A stiffer test perhaps with the Hampton Pirates. I'm not saying this is ACC caliber basketball, but Hampton's certainly better than what UVA has seen at this point of the season with Ryder and North Carolina Central. Judah Wickhauer is behind the camera. We're going to talk Chandler Morris, Danny Kalin, who's now a household name, and we're going to talk Tony Elliott, Des Kitchens, and Ryan Odom. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere on social media, put your comments in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. Judah, if you can go to the studio camera, if your fingers are not frozen, and welcome the star of our show, Jerry Hootie Ratcliffe, who came bundled up today. Cold is not your favorite.
I used to be fond of cold weather, but not anymore. So
I'm the same
older.
way.
I'm a hot weather guy now.
I'm the same way. Who do you wake up in the morning? Bones, at least for me. For you age like a fine wine. I wake up in the morning and the lower back is a little stiffer and a little bit more pain. The knees are cracking. 15 degrees on the thermometer. I'm like, Hootie, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. What's this winter going to do?
I know. And I want to know just how far that sprint was in your slippers and bathrobe.
It was. Let me put it this way: if I was running a 40-yard dash, it would be somewhere in the neck of 8 to 9 seconds. It was not that fast.
Okay,
my friend, it's good to see you on a Veterans Day.
Yeah, that's a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Pay tribute to all those wonderful service people.
That's right.
Can't thank them enough for what they do.
Amen, brother. Absolutely. Took the words out of my mouth. You say it beautifully every time. We start with scatter shooting with Jerry Ratcliffe, the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer.
Well, it's been a crazy week. I think I had 4 games in 8 days. I got a game tonight and then 2 games Saturday. Trying to figure out how to do that. It's a home basketball game at noon and a 3:30 football game at Duke, so we'll figure it out somehow. But anyways, it's that time of year, and as crazy as things were last Saturday night, and Tony Elliott reminded everybody, he said, even with the loss, we still, our main goals, which is to reach the ACC championship game and to win the Virginia State championship, are still in front of us and within our reach. So it's a big week for that. If they want to get to Charlotte, they have to win in Durham on Saturday afternoon.
Virginia, a 6.5-point underdog for this contest in Durham. Duke's offense is prolific. The game on national television, 3:30 kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, and the nation's eyes will be on UVA as the game is broadcasted on ESPN2. The topic we're all talking is the status and health of Chandler Morris.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll find out more at Tony's press conference at 11:30 this morning. And all we have to go on until then is that he said after the game that he talked to Chandler after the game and he seemed all right.
Street clothes on the sidelines.
Yeah, we talked to a couple players and they, including Danny Kalin, Daniel Kalin. We're not sure what he goes by, but. And he said that Chandler was giving him, tips, advice, etc., during the second half. So that would lead you to believe that he's got a chance to come back this week.
Danny Kalin.
Yeah, and he showed up at practice yesterday. He didn't practice, but he was there.
Renee Pettifer wants to talk basketball. We'll talk hoops. Renee, absolutely. You are the Virginia basketball #1 fan. They got Hampton on the docket, 9 o'clock tip, esta noche. That's tonight. For those that don't speak Spanish, UVA a 23.5-point favorite. Danny Kalin, I'm not going to be hard on the guy. Danny Kalin was thrown into a lion's den like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, wood-burning furnace like Daniel. Was Daniel in the wood-burning furnace? Judah's the biblical scholar over here.
Yeah, he is. He knows his stuff.
All right, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in the wood-burning furnace? Okay, sorry, Judah. Judah Wickower of the tribes of Judah is correcting me over here. Judah, Benjamin Wickower.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Judah, about that. The kid had no first-string reps. He's really not played any meaningful football. He's got thrown into a nationally televised game in front of nearly a sold-out crowd. Never expected to play. I'm not throwing shade on the kid.
No, I think under the circumstances, he did about as good as he could. A couple of those fumbles that he had, he just hadn't been there enough. And he made some nice passes. He rallied them for a chance to win the game at the end. Not so sure about the decision to throw it a fade route for the game-winning play. I'm just not real crazy about some of that strategy at the end, but I thought he did a good job. He showed us some athleticism with a 54-yard run, and he admitted after the game that he shouldn't have looked back because that slowed him down and they knocked him out of bounds. But I think considering the circumstances, and against a pretty good Wake defense. So, let's give Wake Forest some credit. Their defense is solid.
Very solid.
They shut down SMU's running game and made it ugly, and that's how they won the other night. It was, no offensive touchdowns for the entire game for either team. So Wake can ugly it up and find a way to win. I'm not sure Virginia can win a game like that.
I don't think Virginia's dialed in or has the makeup to win. Maybe makeup's not the right word, but I totally agree with winning a game like that. Wake, that's how they win. That is how Wake Forest wins. If Danny Kalen's the guy, how much does the offense change from Chandler Morris?
Oh, at this time of the year, I don't think you can afford to change it a lot because everybody's accustomed to doing certain things, and you can't just go in and redo your whole offense around the quarterback. You can find some things that he's comfortable with, and maybe some things that he's uncomfortable with, but you got to focus on what he does best, and just hope the offensive line can protect him. There's been some issue with that. There was the other night. The week before, offensive line did a really good job. They had one of the best pass blocking grades of any team since 2017 at nearly 90%. But they had a few breakdowns against Wake Forest that cost them.
Virginia football guys must win. Interesting wrinkle for this logjam at the top of the ACC standings is the loss to NC State has zero merit in a tiebreaker situation or scenario to determine who makes the ACC championship game. What a wild season.
It's been nuts, and it's kind of made the ACC fun again because anybody can get knocked off from week to week. We've seen a lot of upsets and so many close games, and that Virginia has traditionally this year been pretty good in close games. They've won, I think 5 of their last 6 games have been one-score games, and they're 4-1 in those, and just couldn't pull it out the other night, but ran out of magic, I guess. But the ACC is wild, totally wild.
If you had told us in the beginning of the season that Duke, UVA, Georgia Tech, Pitt,
SMU
are the front runners for the ACC championship, we'd laugh at the folks.
Probably so.
We would say, "What are you smoking?"
Yeah.
And that's the scenario we're in. And parity is a word we must use in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Is it 5 teams in the top 25? I'll take a look on that. I think we got
right.
5 in the top 25.
I think that's right.
I'll take a look at that. I mean, it's a well-balanced conference. Does it have that one top 5, top 10 team? Probably not. But it's balanced, and it's balanced without the OG, the old guard carrying the weight. Florida State, Clemson, which, let's face it, it's a pretty exciting time to be an Atlantic Coast Conference fan.
Yeah, it really is, because in a lot of years past, most teams probably felt like they didn't have a chance. But this year, like you said, it's parity, and NIL has changed that. And you can't have any more parity than what the ACC has right now. Maybe the SEC to some degree, it's a different kind of parity, but because they have so many outstanding teams. But the ACC is fun again, and maybe they're not getting the national respect that they want, but I think it's a much improved league over the past 3 or 4 years.
Georgia Tech, and we're going to go, ladies and gentlemen, with the Associated Press poll. Georgia Tech at 14, Miami 16, Louisville 19, UVA 20, Pitt 23. That's 5 teams from the Atlantic Coast Conference in the top 25. There's 5, ladies and gentlemen, in the coaches poll as well. Lot of parity, and SMU, I should highlight, is extremely high in receiving votes. Do you want to analyze or break down Virginia's path to the ACC championship, or is that so muddled we should do it after this weekend of play?
Well, it's incredibly muddled. I haven't looked at all the tiebreaker scenarios because I don't think it's. I mean, why even bother at this point? Because so much can still happen. 3 weeks of football left, and. All I know is that if Virginia wants to be in Charlotte, they pretty much, I think, have to win out. And that starts Saturday. But if they lose either one of those last 2 games, I would think they're definitely out of the picture.
Are you surprised Duke's a 6.5-point favorite?
No. They've been a favorite ever since, even before the season started. And I think Duke's had, even though they've lost more games than people may have predicted originally, they're still very dangerous, and a lot of that is because of their quarterback.
He's a beast.
He's unbelievable. He's one of the top passers in the country. He's averaging, I think, 310 yards passing a game. He's in the top 5 in passing efficiency, top 5 in touchdown passes. He's got a fleet of receivers who are outstanding. I think they have 3 receivers with at least 5 TD catches each, and he can spread it around the field. They're never seemingly out of a game because of his arm. They have a decent running attack. Their defense is somewhat questionable, particularly their pass defense. But I think as long as he can throw it, they've got a chance.
Comments are coming in. James Madison is watching in Mineral, Virginia. He says, Hootie, this reminds me so much of 1990 when UVA was rolling along until Sean Moore broke his thumb, and then the wheels came off. What do you think of the comparison, Hootie Ratcliffe?
I think it's different. Even though this team is really successful and could end up in the college football playoffs if the right things happen. I still think that 1990 team, at least at this juncture of the season, they had already lost to Georgia Tech by now. That was on November the 2nd, I think. That team had climbed to number 1 in the country, and I mean this team hasn't really smelled that. But comparison to Sean, I don't know. Virginia had a pretty good backup in Matt Blunden, who went on and played in the NFL as his backup. So I'm not sure it's quite the same, because Blunden ended up being the starter the following year and ended up playing for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And don't forget the head coach of the Monticello High School boys basketball team. A key position, Matt Blunden, right there.
That's right.
Jerry Ratcliffe sent me an assignment to cover that Mustang basketball team multiple times when he was a sports editor of the newspaper. Matt Blunden was very good with the keyboard and is a head basketball coach at Monticello High School.
And now he's the AD at Woodbury Forest.
That's right.
It's a great guy, Matt Blunden. But, I think this is a little different than 90. Although I see what he's getting at. So you can draw some comparisons, but I think it was a little different back then.
Two former UVA football standouts who had enjoyed time in the National Football League, athletics directors in the Charlottesville area. Matt Blundett at Woodbury Forest, Patrick Estes, the athletic director at the Covenant School.
Yeah, that's right.
Patrick Estes, when you see him walking around Covenant at 6'7", 265 pounds, your jaw drops. It's a big boy.
He's a big dude,
It's a big
especially
dude,
for an AD.
especially for an athletic director. You see him next to middle school students, and he's twice their size. Comments are coming in extremely quickly. Cliff Daisy, one of our top fans, watching on the Eastern Shore. He says it's a blustering.
Onnecock.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction. Yeah.
No, well, he corrected me.
Okay.
He came up to the press box to see me Saturday.
Oh.
And I had a delightful time talking to him. He's a wonderful guy. Invited me to come down and have some seafood out there sometime this summer. So, great guy. It was nice meeting him. It's always great meeting some Twitter followers and people who follow our shows.
Absolutely. He says it's a blustery day. He says, greetings from...
I bet on the water it's a blustery day.
That's what he's saying. Very chilly Eastern Shore morning. He says, I love the show. And he made his first game of the season on Saturday, as you highlighted. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but he enjoyed being there. On your Facebook page, Rob Gray is watching in New Kent, Virginia. He says, I was right with my comment last week about game day basketball or the ACC network pregame coming to CVille and the fact that we're cursed or we play horribly when they're on location. He's
right.
He also says, at this point, I don't care about the ACC championship game. I want or need to beat the Chokies. I have seen this storyline with the fan base, where the fan base wants the Virginia Tech victory more than an ACC championship. It is a unique scenario here.
It's a quarter century of frustration.
Right. A Virginia Tech win or the ACC championship. I'm torn on this. I'm also in the camp, I can't believe I'm saying this, of a Virginia Tech victory over an ACC championship.
Well, when you go to work or you go to church or whatever, you're not getting hassled for not making the ACC championship game, but you
the
are
same
getting
guy has
hassled.
chirped in my ear since I was in college.
Yeah, you're getting hassled by Tech fans over that game, and after 27 years, I guess. It gets old.
Yeah, it gets old. Still, the sweet aspect of this season is Virginia fans could have both.
They could, and it all depends on if they can get ready for Duke and find a way to win on the road.
Comments continue to come in about Danny Kaelin. He's become a household name with Wahoo Nation. Let's say Chandler Morris does not go against Duke. Let's say Danny Kaelin is the guy. The play action, which Chandler Morris ran extremely well, or runs extremely well, would still be in play. I think the expectation is less out-of-pocket work for Danny Kaelin, although that giddy-up and go against Wake Forest impressed me. The guy, as you've highlighted, is taller in stature, so the 3- and 5-step drop and get rid of the football while standing in the pocket is much more realistic, if you may. How would you characterize arm strength for Chandler Morris? How would you characterize stripping down the playbook, perhaps, versus Chandler Morris? And how would you characterize how this team is potentially, I hate to say this, diminished without Chandler Morris?
Well, let's go to the last part first. I think without Chandler Morris, it's a different team because you're talking about a guy who has 6 years of college football experience, has incredible vision. He can extend plays with his legs. He keeps his eyes downfield and is looking for a receiver. How many times have we seen him scrambling and at the last second, right before he crosses the line of scrimmage, he'll stop, pull up, and hit a guy down the field. Not to mention the fact that he's athletic enough to run and get you some really good yards, definitely some first downs, if not more. Can get in the end zone. You're losing tons of experience. in that, and leadership. Not to saying that Danny Kaelin's not a good leader, because he hadn't been given that opportunity, but Chandler Morris, the team rallies around him. They believe in him. They never think they're out of it with him under center or in a shotgun. But as far as arm strength, I don't know. We haven't seen Kaelin enough. I think he has a really good arm from everything I've heard. I don't think Nebraska would have signed him had he not. And he only got beat out because they signed a five-star big-time quarterback that sent him into the transfer portal. But what was the other part? Did they change the playbook? I think
that's all over the feed right now.
I think they'll. It won't be a drastic change, but he's more of a pocket guy. I don't know if he has developed a real great feel for the pocket at this point, and has that the timing in the back of his head where he needs to pull it down and take a sack or try to get a yard or throw it away instead. And it didn't help when he was under pressure the other night, and I think Wake took advantage of that and put him under a lot of pressure, and they should. If you're a smart defensive coordinator and you got a quarterback who hasn't played that much, you're going to be aggressive and try to completely rattle him. And I think they did their best to do that, and then it cost Virginia 2 really difficult turnovers. But I think they'll modify things to where they can take advantage of his strengths and not ask him to do too much. They'll try to keep it simple. I'm sure he knows the offense well because he's been here for quite some time now. But you don't want to put it all on his shoulders with no more experience than he has.
Jeremy Wilson watching in Eastern Tennessee right now. We love Jeremy Wilson and the Eastern Tennessee fan base. He says we need all our running backs back. That would make a big difference. I'm very much inclined to agree with Mr. Wilson right there. This team is best when it's running the football. This team is best when Taylor's getting 20 touches. Yes, he had a big fumble in that Wake Forest contest, but when Taylor's running the football, it opens up so much more in the passing game, and it's very much going to diminish the margin of error if Kaelin has to play. The offensive line of late, how would you characterize it? My standpoint, seems a little shoddy.
It's been up and down. They had some pretty good yardage, and they blocked pretty well at Cal. Then the other night they had too many breakdowns, I thought, and Wake is hard to run against because they have so many people in the box, and again they shut down SMU's running game. I think SMU averaged like 2 yards a carry against that defense. So, I'm not really down on the offensive line. I think they didn't have a good game the other night, but I think they'll be back this week. I think they'll be fine. But you're right. They're not going to win unless they can run the football. I don't think they're not a team that's going to go drop back and throw it 45 or 50 times and probably win. They're going to have to run the football. And Jamari had a decent game the other night. The guy that caused the fumble
that was a hell of a play.
Made a good play.
That was a hell of a play.
You got to give him credit for it.
Yeah.
But, Jamari could use a little help. Noah Vaughn wasn't ready to play, I don't think, yet. Brown, who is their most explosive runner and the guy with the outside speed, is done. So they're missing that element from the running attack. And Harrison Whaley is, he doesn't. I don't know if he gets enough carries or not, but he's a lot like. I think he's a lot like Jamari, and
100%.
He's mostly a between the tackles runner.
Jamari's a better version of Harrison Whaley.
Yeah.
And you saw that with the 19 touches for the 98 yards for Jamari Taylor and the Harrison Whaley 3 touches for 10 yards. The coaches know this. We'll talk Cam Robinson. He continues to be on the feed. He's a fan favorite. Cam Robinson looks like an NFL player that's playing in college football right now. I mean, every single week, Cam Robinson is making a big-time play for this Virginia football team. I'll ask him if he's the Defensive Player of the Year in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Mark Brown's watching the program. He says, I want to embarrass Virginia Tech and run up the score like Steve Spurrier would do at Florida. I think a lot of people are feeling that as well. I would love to see that as well. If I see another Christmas card with Virginia Tech fans taking a picture on the field at Scott Stadium, I might get a little sick to my stomach. Those are all over there, including one of my good buddies who makes sure to send me that picture in text message capacity every single year. So I'm with you right there, Mark Brown. Let's talk Des Kitchings. There's a lot of shade here on Des Kitchings, and I'm going to choose my words carefully because this football team has a chance to win an ACC championship. So we give him the benefit of the doubt. A lot of the fan base is saying this offense is underperforming at the time of the year that they need to be outperforming opponents, and maybe the statistics justify that statement.
Yeah, the offense has been bogged down for mostly the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think, and I mean that falls on the coaches. I mean, some of it is execution or not really great execution. But you know, from what I was told, Tony Elliott told the team in practice early last week that this is the time to step on the gas pedal, and particularly offensively, and put it on people, and be relentless. And we just didn't see that the other night. There were too many, I thought, gimmicky plays. When you're down like that, even though you got a backup quarterback in, I think you got to just fling it to try to get back into the game and make something happen. And instead, 3rd and 7, they ran between the tackles. They tried 2 jet sweeps within 4 plays of one another at one point, total of 2 yards in 2 plays. Just little things like that, and maybe I'm nitpicking.
No, you're not nitpicking.
But I'd like to see a little more imagination on some of the pass route concepts, and maybe some screens or something to loosen teams up, and we're just not seeing it.
We
saw that early.
We saw it early. I was just going to say that.
Now.
What's the difference?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Is it Chandler Morris was playing banged up? Is it the missing piece of Xavier Brown? Like what? The first handful of games, you have 48 against Coastal. You lose to NC State, but you hang 31 on the Wolfpack on the road. I'll scratch the William & Mary game with 55. You have 48 against Stanford, 46 against Florida State, shootout against Louisville where you score 30, and then the Washington State game, the North Carolina game, the California game, the Wake Forest game. The offense is a shadow of what we saw at the beginning of the season. What's been the difference? Is it just the tape is out on Virginia's offense?
That's some of it. No question that people have tightened things up because they want to take your strengths away. They know what you're trying to do, and if they can try to shut down your run and make you throw it, although I'm not sure I'd want to make Chandler Morris throw the football because he's so good at it. But still, it takes if they can make you one-dimensional, as what most teams are trying to do, and certainly Wake Forest did that the other night. Virginia became one-dimensional, and it's hard to win particularly a one-score football game, and under those kind of circumstances, particularly when you turn it over 3 times. And, I mean, that's just giving the other team 3 extra possessions. And the fact that they gave up an 88-yard punt return for a touchdown was inexcusable in my book. I thought that the punt coverage on that play was atrocious.
Flip the script on you. Can the defense carry this team? Can Cam Robinson and this defense make up for what could be a backup quarterback starting the last 2 games of the season and an offensive coordinator whose scheming and play calling has seemed to be predictable?
To a degree, they can cover you to a degree. They a lot of it is forcing turnovers, and for the first, they had forced at least one turnover in 6 straight games until last week. They didn't force any, and that hurt because you gave up the punt return for a touchdown and you gave up 3 turnovers. It's hard for defense to overcome that, but they pretty much did all they could to keep, and they kept Wake Forest out of the end zone. Really, they can keep it close. I don't know if they can win it or not unless they get like a pick six or a scoop and score or something like that. But they can keep it close, and they can keep it in there and keep it within reason to where you can win a tight game in the fourth quarter. But at some point, the offense has to do its job.
Cam Robinson, looking like
unbelievable,
a shortlist player, ACC Defensive Player of the Year.
He's got my vote.
Got your vote. ACC Defensive Player of the Year, blocking punts, winning games on safeties, pick sixes, fumble recoveries, sacks, tackles for a loss. Tony Elliott seems to whisper in this guy's ear, "Get me the football," and Cam Robinson delivers.
I don't even think he has to whisper in his ear. It's just built in.
Tap him on the shoulder.
I think it's just built in.
Plays hurt. He's a leader.
Yeah.
He's explosive.
I mean, he's everything you want a linebacker to be, everything you want your defensive leader to be. And I can't think of a team in the country that wouldn't want that guy on their roster. He's spectacular. We thought he was going to be good when they beat out Florida State and Tennessee for him back when he was a 4-star. Probably should have been a 5-star in high school down in the Tidewater. But he's exceeded everybody's expectations, and he just keeps getting better and better. And he's done this, and he missed 3 games. And he still leads the team in tackles and just about every statistic you can think of.
We're 2 guys sitting at the barbershop here. I want you to talk me out of why I should not be bearish on this football team here. And I'm going to outline why I'm bearish on the team. And I'm never bearish. I'm a bullish guy. I'm a positive guy. I'll just play for the sake of a talk show, okay? You got a quarterback that appears to me that's been concussed at least once this season. I'm still not convinced early in the season with that. Was the hit in the Coastal game?
That's when he hurt his shoulder the first time.
And we're convinced that was a shoulder hit, not a head hit? Because at the time, it looked like a head hit to all of us.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
We still don't know that.
We still don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a quarterback that is not 100%. He's not a big guy, Chandler Morris.
No, he's not.
What Chandler Morris does well is out of the pocket, where he's exposed to being hit. We have a backup quarterback that really hasn't played any meaningful football outside the Wake Forest game. We have a running back core that was very deep, but they lost their speed threat, their quick guy, outside the tackle guy in Brown for the season with a knee. We got an offensive line that has looked a little shaky of late. We got a play caller in Des Kitchings who's looked predictable of late. At worst, head scratching. We got a defense that has flashes, right? Flashes, but it's not dominant. We have a kicker in Bettridge who I don't trust outside 40 yards.
Right.
Not in the least do I trust outside 40 yards. And we have a program in Virginia Tech to close the season in what could be a must-win game that has owned Virginia's number for a generation. Talk me out of the bear. Talk me out of the bear scenario here.
I'd have to buy you a couple of scotches.
I know. Make sure they're Macallan 10s, my friend.
I'll be happy to. Yeah, I mean, it's a strong argument for anybody who wants to say that Virginia's walking a very thin tightrope right now, and they are. I mean, it's going to Duke, taking on a team that's, again, fighting for the same things you're fighting for. And they still have their rival coming up, too, and they have to play Carolina. It's tough. I mean, it's really tough. These guys are going to have to reach really deep down and find something in there that rekindle what they were doing earlier in the year. And without some of the weapons that they had before, they still have terrific receivers. I'm a little disappointed that they haven't thrown to Edrin more. I think he only caught one pass the other night, and this guy is I think at times he's the most valuable guy in that receiving corps because he may not make the take it to the house plays, but he gets you big first downs. He can pick up 12 to 20 yards at any given moment, and he seems to get open a lot. And you got the speedster in Ross and speedster in Harris, and I think Ennis is a really good tight end. I know they missed Dakota Twitty's blocking ability, and that's taken some things away from them. And the offense isn't quite as effective with him out of the lineup because he's such a great blocker and can play multiple spots on the field as a receiver, even though he's a tight end. But he's not exactly built like a tight end. But it may come down to they have to throw the heck out of it at Duke because unless Virginia's defense can shut down Duke's passing attack, if they end up getting in a thing where they've got to score almost every possession to keep pace with what Duke's doing, and there is a possibility of that because, again, Duke's pass defense has been vulnerable, and they particularly were at UConn last week. Then you're going to have to rely heavily on that receiving corps to get the ball down the field because if Duke's loading the box and taking away your run, and you have to throw it, then you've got the weapons. You just got to use them.
I mean that's the playbook for me. If Duke is at home and they got a lot to play for, you say I'm going to do whatever it takes to stop the run, and I'm going to make this backup quarterback or this banged up quarterback beat me.
Yeah, and that's what Manny Diaz is thinking because that's his background. He's a defensive guy, and I'm sure those thoughts, the very thoughts in your head, are in his head.
Yeah, you have a press conference at 11:30 with
I
Tony Elliott. You got to haul tail, and probably going to be hauling tail just to stay warm because it's 19 degrees outside. 9 o'clock. Last comments here. 9 o'clock. Hampton, John Paul Jones Arena, ACC Network. They're 23.5-point favorites. It's a little bit stiffer competition. We're not saying this is an ACC opponent, but Hampton's got some guys.
Yeah, they do, and then they play Marshall Saturday. It's another step up the ladder, I think, in competition. But they should be able to handle this team well. Assuming they're not sleepwalking at 9 o'clock tonight. But Ryan Odom continues to work on various things. We saw him working more on the press the other night. We saw the fact that he played the two 7-footers together for a while, and then at the same time had 2 point guards in there to make up for the fact that you've got two big dudes up on the front line. But it seemed like the scorers were a little more confident the other night. They got back to making threes. I think they tried 36. We're going to see that all year. They're going to launch them, and
I think this team can make threes.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Ryder game was an abnormality that they just were off that night, and sometimes that's going to happen. But that's when you've got those big studs in the front court to make up for, like Testa Ritter, who. He scored back-to-back 20-point games. It's the first time, I think they said, since Sylvan Landesberg that a freshman's done that at Virginia, even though he's not your typical freshman.
He's 22.
He's
Sub
not
at Landisburg, a
not
left-hander.
a lot of
point guard.
22-year-old freshmen running around out there.
This guy's the man, Jerry Ratcliffe. His website's jerryratcliffe.com. I'm on it every single day. The first thing I did when I woke up this morning was go on jerryratcliffe.com to see if there was a Chandler Morris update. I had our 2-year-old and 3-year-old, our soon-to-be 3-year-old wrestling with the German Shepherd, while our 7-year-old was eating cornflakes. And my wife was getting ready.
The one thing Virginia fans might get a kick out of this week is our Thursday podcast, me and Jeff Jones on the Hootie
great.
and JJ show. Dave Odom is going to be our guest.
That's big time.
Ryan's father, and that'll be fun.
I hope in that interview you asked Dave about some behind-the-scenes Ryan Odom tales and stories.
Yeah,
Because
we'll
Dave
make a
Odom
point of that.
can tell a story.
Oh, he's a great storyteller.
Yeah. Yeah. Jerry Ratcliffe is a great storyteller as well. Proud to call him a friend. He's the namesake of jerryratcliffe.com. Judah Wickower has got a brand new, is that a Patagonia or Eddie Bauer? LL Bean. He's looking dapper
Looks
per
like he's
usual.
just stepped out of GQ,
He's
man.
GQ Judah Wickower. This is the Jerry and Jerry Show. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody. Nicely done, Boots. Time flies. 11:02.